Hello everybody, this is AK. I'm back. So in tonight's video, I want to talk a bit more about REITs, right? Specifically, REITs recovery. I mean, some viewers have asked me questions with regards to REITs and whether they would ever recover. Right. Of course, we know that in an environment of higher interest rates, where interest rates have gone up so rapidly and so significantly, REITs have found it difficult to cope. Right. If interest rates were to increase more gradually and in an orderly manner, and not so significantly, REITs would have been able to cope quite easily, right? And that's what I've said before in the past, why REITs were a better investment than bonds, because unlike bonds, REITs are able to increase income, right? And ask for higher rents from their tenants. Bonds have no such ability, So when you buy bonds, basically you are trying to protect yourself from downside, right? But you have to give up on the upside, right? And REITs have the potential to deliver some upside, but that has not been the case in recent times, because interest rates have just thrown a spanner in the works, right? Going up so significantly and so quickly, right? So that's why REITs have been punished. So the question of whether REITs will recover, I mean, it's obvious that some REITs will never recover, right? They've gone the way of the dodo, and the reasons because some of it is just plain fraud, right? Like Eagle Hospitality Trust is plain fraud, to me at least, and it seemed that way. And some like EC World REIT and some other Chinese REITs, basically there's so much financial engineering, right, to make them look more attractive than they were. And of course now the worms are all coming out of the woodwork, and those seem like they're going to go kaput. And of course some are were just badly managed. For example, Manulife US REIT, badly managed and just overly leveraged, and some REITs are not as badly managed, but they have been highly leveraged as well, and the management did not have the foresight to have most, if not all, of their debt on fixed rates. So there will be REITs which will do worse than others because of the reasons that I just listed, and but it will remain challenging for all REITs if interest rates stay higher for longer, right? Like I've said in recent videos. So no REIT will be spared in a higher for longer rate situation. And even crowd favorites like Fraser Logistics and Commercial Trust reported 6.6% reduction in DPU recently because of lower income and higher expenses, for example. So none will be spared. I say when the bear comes out of the cave, none will be spared, right? Then of course it's also logical for people to ask if REITs would do better if interest rates were to decline. And the easy answer is yes, all else being equal. Right? That's a standard textbook answer any economics student can give. However, the catch here is all else being equal, right? If the economy chugs along nicely and interest rate comes down, then the REITs, of course, their financing cost comes down, but their income stays the same. Of course, they'll do better. They'll be able to bring home the bacon, more bacon. Right. However, the US Fed has already said that they won't reduce interest rates unless inflation goes back down to 2% in a sustainable manner. And I've said before, 2% is probably unrealistic given the situation we are in right now. You know, that things are not in a good place in the world, and that maybe a more reasonable normalized inflation rate would be somewhat higher, like 3% or maybe a bit more. But if the Fed decides to be stubborn about it, and I think they will still reduce interest rates if the US gets hit by a recession, right? Especially if it should be a bad recession. Of course, if interest rates come down because of recession, that's not going to be good for REITs either. So you see how we're trapped between the devil and the deep blue sea, right? But to be fair, this will not only affect REITs, but it will affect all businesses, right? So businesses are saying, oh, high interest rates are impacting our balance sheets. So we are feeling stressed from having to pay more in interest payments. It's more costly to service our debt. But at the same time, if the interest rates comes down, and then if we were hit by a recession, you might be paying less interest. You know, it might be cheaper for you to service your debt, but your income might be impacted, right? Your income might be impacted. So again, caught between the rock and a hard place, right? And as investors, as long as we are invested in businesses that rely on leverage, right? Financial leverage to some degree, this is a pertinent consideration, right? The more leveraged business entity is, the more serious this consideration should be. And we really have to bear this in mind, right? Comes back to the point that I've said before so many times, that we want to pay special attention to balance sheet strength, right? And to cap this all off, this is something that Warren Buffett has said before, and we really want to remind ourselves of what he has said before, and that is, have the purchase price be so attractive that a mediocre sale will yield good results. So basically, it's to buy when the market is super depressed. That means the market is in a very bad depression, right? They pay a price that is so attractive that a mediocre sale will yield good results. So in my opinion, there is really no rush to put more money to work, right? Especially if we are already significantly invested, right? REITs, will it recover? Yeah, probably. It's a matter of time. We just don't know when, right? At least some REITs will recover, right? Just have to avoid those basket cases, right? In the meantime, sit on cash. It takes character to sit on cash, like what Charlie Munger says, right? Worst situations to be in, especially now that cash has a real relatively good return, right? Cash is not trash. So if AK can talk to himself, so can you. Bye bye.